I'm Dave Palumbo, founder of Species Nutrition. From my earliest bodybuilding days, I believed in only putting the best in my body. And that lives on in the Species Nutrition line of products. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. Welcome back. I'm Dave Palumbo here with our 2020 NPC Nationals overall champ, new IFBB Pro, Jonathan Withers. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dave. It's great to be here.
Yeah, man. Congratulations on the huge win.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. I mean, I knew I had a chance, but I didn't think I was gonna, do it. Really, honestly, and it worked out for me.
I've been telling people, this is only your second show, but it's actually your third show, which is big bahoo.
What's my second show, Dave?
Oh, it is your second show. Oh, okay. I thought you corrected me on After Hours. Okay.
No. Yeah, it's my second one.
So you competed last year at the 2019. You won that, and then you just went right to Nationals this year, and you got your pro card. That doesn't happen a lot. Even Phil Heath had 3 shows before he turned pro.
yeah, Dave. When Bob was interviewing me after the show, I dropped that on stage, and he was like, "Hey, man, it took me like 100 shows to get my pro card." So
it just doesn't happen. Now, what's funny is people don't realize you were in the Marine Corps for 5 years, and it's almost impossible. I don't know how people compete in the military because you guys got to run and do stuff like that, right?
Yeah, yes, sir. It's so hard to try to put muscle on when you're having to run 3-4 miles every other day, and I was a diesel mechanic too, so I mean I'm lifting transmissions and doing a lot of laborious work. Right. And
were you still training? I mean, were you able to get your workouts in?
I was training 3-4 days a week, just trying to get everything in when I could,
right,
kind of thing. And I was able to build some muscle and put on some size anyway.
Yeah, well, you obviously put on a lot of size. Were you a kid that was a big kid like in high school? Did you have like good genetics for putting muscle on, or were you like a thinner kid?
No, I've always been heavy set. I wrestled, played football, those sports. I was about 170 pounds in high school at 5'6".
Oh wow! Okay.
So I was still decent sized.
Yeah. What are you still 5'6", or did you grow it all after that?
I'm 5'7". I grew an inch.
Oh, there you go. No, you know what? The truth is that some people have a predisposition to put muscle on. You obviously did, because if you didn't, you would not have achieved what you did in such a short period of time.
Yes, sir, correct. I mean, I definitely it's easy for me to get fat too, though. So I got to do a bunch of cardio.
You're like an Evan Centopani. Yeah, Evan was a fat kid, but he just packs muscle on real easy, and so
exactly.
You got to be. Now, you think the military gave you that like kind of discipline to like really target your diet, not let yourself get too out of shape off season, that kind of stuff?
No, I get pretty fat in off season.
Oh, you do? Okay. How high do you go?
I got up to about 275 this last year. So it's about a 50-pound swing.
Yeah. Now, is that tough to lose all that weight when you start dieting?
We do it pretty. Justin will pull me back. Like 10 weeks before we actually start prep, and we start dieting down then. I mean, we don't hit it hard, but he's like, "Hey, we should get a jump start here."
Yeah.
And we cut the junk out then, and then we go into prep.
You're talking about Justin Compton, obviously, who's your coach. Now, I've worked with people like you as well, and we better not like try to jam all this into a very short period of time, because it's not going to be fun for you, and you don't want to lose muscle, obviously. But you probably have one of these physiques that you probably could starve and you wouldn't lose a pound of muscle either, right?
We got pretty low there towards the end, and I was doing 2 hours of cardio. So
nice.
I mean, I felt like I was losing muscle, but it stayed.
Yeah. It's people don't realize, to get from like looking really good to looking insane is not a fun process. I don't care who you are. Even when I had a good metabolism when I competed, and it still wasn't fun. It hurts, and you got to be able to go into that pain zone,
Well, I think that's what it ended up coming down to in the overall. I think I just suffered a little more.
Yeah.
And my conditioning was just better. I mean, Bundy is a freak. I mean, standing next to him, he's huge, and he's muscle in all the right places.
Yeah.
And
You're talking
so,
about Jeff Charent, or also called the Big Bundy is his nickname. We've had him on the show. We're going to have him next week. He won the super heavies, and he's so much taller than you, and so much, he got to outweigh you by what, like 50 pounds?
Oh, easily 50 pounds.
Yeah.
And I mean, if they would have gave him the nod, I couldn't have been upset about that. He looked great.
What did you actually weigh on stage?
I was about 223, 225.
Okay.
I mean, it was right at the top end of that class.
Right. It was a good battle. It's funny because, a lot of people thought this year would be like a terrible year at the Nationals because obviously COVID and there wasn't many shows. But when I see the talent pool from that, there was a lot of people volume-wise, but there was also at the very top, the top like couple in each class were very high quality. I mean, you had a tough time. I thought you won the class from the pictures real easily, but I think it was a 1-point decision you beat Ross Flanagan by, right?
It was. They posed us for 8 to 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It was. They just kept putting us through the rounds,
Yeah.
and they didn't really move Ross around. He kind of stayed in the middle the whole time. But I think they wanted to compare me with other people, so I bounced around a little bit, and then.
Were you surprised you won?
Yeah, because Justin had gotten a message saying, "Hey, man, it's a 1-point decision" earlier in the day, and I just didn't know which way that could go. That was.
So when they called your name out, you were shocked. In other words, you didn't really know.
I was. I mean, it's my second show. I couldn't believe that I could pull that off. And I mean, either way, I knew I was going home with a pro card.
Right.
And so I was already kind of over the moon because I knew I'd gotten at least second.
Right. Ross had a lot of muscle. I know Ross. I worked with him back in the day, but he has a lot of muscle, and he's got a lot of muscle maturity, maybe a little bit more than you in that sense. But I think what happens is these judges look at the physiques. They knew both you guys were getting pro cards, and they say, who's going to be a better overall guy in the overall? And I think that you probably were the guy that was going to stack up better against Bundy in the overall. And I think that's why they probably went with you. That's how I would have looked at it. And it was a good choice because you stacked up well with him because mass-wise, you're not missing any. You don't have no gaps in your body at all. And I think that your conditioning, like you said, kind of pushed you ahead of these of Jeff in that overall.
Exactly. And then when we were posing too, I was one of the only guys that kept getting harder. As they posed us, I didn't fade any, and so it was my benefit. They just kept posing us. And
it's funny you said that because you know what? I noticed that guys with very fast metabolisms, this would happen to me, fade sometimes because it's like your metabolism gets the best of you and you start flattening out. Guys that have like slightly a little more sluggish metabolism, they seem to get harder the more they pose up there.
Exactly, and I don't pump up a lot either because I knew it was going to be a long process. There was 30 heavyweights.
Yeah.
And so, I just did some push-ups a little bit and kind of popped my biceps and then just took it from there.
That's a huge mistake people make too. And people always ask me, they're like, should I pump up? I'm like, absolutely not. Just pose. And they're like, why not? I'm like, why would you do a workout before you got on stage to do another workout?
Exactly. You're going to get hard as soon as you get up there. You're already dry.
There's guys who are pumping up for a half hour. Think about all the glycogen they're depleting out of their muscles.
Yeah, anything that you ate backstage is already gone.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, it's got to be a thrill for you to take that, not only the pro card, obviously, but get the overall championship because that puts you in a very elite club of all the past champions, starting with Lee Haney, and running through the Lavronis and all the other Jay Cutlers and all the guys who've won the Nationals over the years. I mean, you got to feel like you're in an elite little clique, so to speak.
Yeah, it was mind blowing. It didn't really sink in because Lee Haney's there. He gives me my award and talking to me backstage, and he's saying, "Hey, champ, just work on your posing, bring that back up and just keep that level of conditioning, and you're gonna do well."
Right.
And and then Jay Cutler later in the night, he sent me a message and spoke to me a little bit. And
that's cool. What do you say?
He was just like, "Hey, champ, I won mine in '96, and congrats, and you look great, and I enjoyed the quad stomp, and so." Yeah,
I love the you got that like 3/4 side tricep you did with the quad locked down. Very, very Branch Warnish quad looking there when you lock that thing down.
Yeah, and I actually used to work out at Metroflex.
When you lived in Texas?
Yeah, I did. That's where I prepped for the Ronnie Coleman, and so
Oh,
I actually got to see Branch in there a lot, and he actually posed me a few times, and so
that's
you
funny.
know, yeah. I've been fortunate and been around a lot of great bodybuilders. So
Well, you learned that crazy, training ethic, I'm sure, at that gym because if you don't keep up with those guys, you like they like want to kick you to the curb out there. They won't even let you work
oh
out
yeah,
in the gym.
you don't pull your phone out there.
No, you got to feel worthy there. It's great because it's like an intimidation environment almost. Like you said, you almost have to be afraid. You got to go in the bathroom if you want to look at your phone because they'll like be like, get that fucking thing out of here, you know.
Yeah, I've seen Branch take a phone out of someone's hand before. So
That's great. Now you train people at the Powerhouse in Aurora, Colorado now, which is a little outside of Denver. How did you get into the training? Is that when you left the military?
yes, sir. So I actually I went to school after the military. I used my GI Bill, and I have a degree in history and psychology.
Nice.
I was planning on being a teacher, but in the current climate, and I just figured I'd take my shot at bodybuilding because
Right.
I seem pretty good at it. And,
Yeah, and you were right. Good gamble. You gambled well.
yeah, I mean, it's hard to get going and pay the bills, and my wife's in med school, so
Oof. Yeah.
I had to balance being a single income. And
What's med school called? I went to medical school in 1990 through 93. What is it? And it was like 35 grand a year then. I can't even imagine what it must cost right now.
it's about double that now.
Wow, 70 grand a year. And does she live at home with you?
Yeah, we live together about 10 minutes from her school.
Imagine if she had to have housing, back when I was a kid, I had to pay the housing too. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
You get out of school, you're $500,000 in debt. It's great. It's nuts nowadays. That's why no one wants to be doctors anymore.
True. And but I think we're both pretty driven people, so
Right.
we're both trying to live our dreams right now. And
Yeah, and you guys are succeeding. I take my hat off to people who really put their, everything they got into what they do and believe in what they do and don't worry. I always tell people, when you're young, don't worry about the money. You get your whole life to make money. Do what you really like to do and be great at it. And that's what you're doing. You're being the best bodybuilder you can be. She's going to med school, after, like you said, we were talking off the camera before, and I said, how come she went to school later? And you said because she really wasn't a big student early on, and she kind of got remotivated later, and that's great.
exactly. And I think it's benefited us being a little bit older too, because
Sure.
now we know what we want. We're driven, and we don't mess around anymore, and so it makes a big difference.
When now that you've turned pro and you've won the Nationals, obviously, I have to imagine when you go to the gym, you have to be afforded a little bit more respect now. Do you notice there's a difference? Do people treating you differently?
Yes, it's good and bad because now I'm having to take an extra 30 minutes at the beginning of my workout to talk to people, and
It's all good.
It's very welcomed. I love people that come up and talk to me.
Right.
Just if I'm in the middle of a set, please wait.
There you go.
Yeah.
When I used to train people at the gym when I first started, I used to have to go train someplace else because the people where you work, people think, well, they're your best friends. They can come talk to you anytime you want because you're always working, even though you're really not always working, So you have to almost leave the gym to go train and get your workout out of the way,
That's what I do. I go to Armbrust, 3 or 4 times a week and go up there because that's more of a bodybuilding gym.
Sure.
And so they kind of leave me alone up there. And
Yeah.
I'm always covered up. I wear sweats, and I'm not one of those pretty boy guys. So
It's funny how you started in Metroflex where Ronnie Coleman and Branch Warren are. Now you're at Armbrust where the Phil Heath is, which is funny because,
yeah,
you seem to have migrated to where the bodybuilders are, the best bodybuilders are.
yeah, go where the greatness is, and I just keep getting better. So it must be something about the gyms.
There you go. Now, I always wanted to ask someone this, and I always forget, but training at altitude, okay, obviously you have to get used to it after a while, but do you notice that it's a lot harder to squat and do those, heavy endurance type, exercises up there?
It was brutal for about the first 6 months I lived here. I just couldn't get those last couple reps.
Right.
And it was rough. You're gassed after a set.
Right. When you go down to sea level and you work out someplace, do you notice a difference?
Well, even my last week, so I went to Orlando on Tuesday, and so I got 3 workouts in there,
Oh.
and depleted and feeling like garbage. I felt like a monster.
Yeah, I was gonna say you probably had so much oxygen in your body you didn't even know what was going on. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was just doing kind of pump workouts, and I was picking up 100-pound dumbbells.
Hey, there's something to that. Maybe more guys should be training at altitude. So
yeah, a little blood doping. That might
yeah,
work.
exactly. So now, I'm sure Justin and you have talked on the phone since the show. What's the plan for next year? I mean, do you take off time? I mean, you're only 29 years old. I mean, what do you think you're going to wind up doing next year?
Right now we're just really focused on the next 6 to 8 weeks, capitalizing on that. And we haven't spoke too much about next year, but I'm leaning towards taking it off because I think I need to put on about 15 pounds.
Yeah.
To be really competitive on my upper body. My back specifically, my arms.
Sure.
My chest is okay, but it could use some size too. So I think that's the goal. Maybe 2022 early.
Gotcha.
So not a full year and a half or anything, but maybe like a full year.
It might not be a bad idea, only because who knows? I think we're going to have another COVID-ish year, which might be a little shaky in terms of what shows are going to take place, where they're going to take place. So you get the whole year off, you don't even have to think about that, and then worry. And probably I have to imagine, I'd like to believe by 2022 that we're going to have vaccines and everyone's going to be back to normal. I hope.
I hope so. I mean, they actually Denver's shutting back down right now.
Oh really? Oh shit. Now, do you have a place to train? I mean,
I do. I mean, I can still go up to Armbrist, and
I
mean, they're making everything like an hour time slot, so it's going to be interesting.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I would think the NPC National Champion would be able to reserve at least an hour to train every day, It's like having your own parking spot at the gym,
I'll have to talk to Dylan. I'm sure he will. And then at Powerhouse, I always have time, so.
Obviously I'm not competing nowadays, but I was always I like late night stuff. I used to train sometimes like really late at night, like back when I was up in, when I was going to med school and stuff like that. And I would take the 3 a.m. like training spot. I'm like, I don't want anyone in the gym. Just give me the 3 a.m. Mark me down. I could be the only one there. I just want my training partner and I to be there and train.
That's how I am. I actually train very late. Most people think I'm crazy. I mean, I like training at midnight.
Me too. I just don't feel like I have enough food in me like early in the day. I don't know how guys wake up early in the morning. Like Michael Hearn, he's like benching like 450 at 5 a.m. in the morning.
No, it takes me all day to warm up.
Yeah, me too. So, well, you know what? Congratulations on the huge win. Here's your opportunity. I know there's a lot of people out there you want to thank. Let's hear it.
First, start off my wife. Like I said, she's in med school, and she still found time to, help me out, help me make meals, and get me out of bed for cardio, and keep speaking in my ear. Hey, you can do this every day.
Cool.
There's days where I would wake up and be like, I'm not gonna do this show, and she's like, Jonathan, shut up. You got it.
Yeah.
Just keep pushing. And then my coach, Justin Compton, he's believed in me since day one. Like, he took me on, and he's like, hey, man, you got a good base, and we can do some damage. And I follow his plan 100%. And, at times I don't understand what he's doing, and I'm like, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And, I mean, there'd be a time on this prep where I dropped 3 or 4 pounds in a week.
Wow.
I'm like, we're doing good. He's like, we got to push harder.
Do you ever think we'll see Justin back on stage? Does he have any aspirations to compete again?
No, he's done.
He's done? All right, that's good.
I mean, just from what I know,
I think it's a great idea. He did what he had to do, and now he's making money. That's smart.
I mean, and I'll say this too about people. If you're looking for a coach, find someone that you want to emulate.
Right.
A lot of people just hire the first coach they meet. Mm-hmm. Find someone that's been where you want to go.
Right.
And so
it's good advice.
That's why I chose Justin, and I can see myself being with him forever.
Yeah, or someone who resonates with you. I have a lot of people come to me because they know that I'm really into health and well-being too, and detoxification, and that so I get a lot of people who come to me for that reason alone. And so you got
someone that has been at your level though. Like, you competed at a high level for a long time.
Yeah, I have high level, but I'm just saying.
So you know what's going on.
Right. It's hard for people who never have done it. I understand what you're saying, to understand what you're going through. Like, no one could ever complain to me that they're suffering too much, because I've suffered more than everyone. You're not going to get sympathy from me, right?
The point I'm getting at is don't go hire a bikini chick if you're a bodybuilder.
No, but you're not going to tell Justin Compton that, hey, this is too hard, because Justin has done it the same as you have. So 10 times more than you've done it. So you got to just shut up like in the military and just suck it up and do what you got to do, you know?
That's it. You know, I don't even open my mouth. And then lastly, you know, my friends and my chosen family, you all know who you are. I'm not going to name everybody. It would take me hours. Just know I love you and thank you for all your support. And that's it.
No, I think that it's great. I know it's a great feeling when you win a show. And I mean, I've never won anything at the level you have, but this is a great victory for you. Obviously, enjoy it. It doesn't last that long, but you got that pro card. And I know there's a lot of people and a lot of fans out there that can't wait to see, you know, what you're going to do on a pro stage. It's exciting when we see younger guys coming out and that people we didn't even expect to kind of hit the scene. And you're going to be the future of the IFBB Pro League. So, you know, enjoy this journey, because it's the journey that's important. It's not where you go with the journey. And don't take it for granted.
I won't, Dave. Thank you so much for having me on.
All right. That's Jonathan Withers, our NPC National Overall Champion. I'm Dave Palumbo for another installment of Live With.